think you have to spotlight whoever is recording. Yeah. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasminavaditamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Dayakaram Dayakaram Dantam Dharma Pravartakam Pranamami Dayanandam Madacharya-varam param. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Ajnana-timirandasya Jnana-anjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we are seeing the 4th chapter, and very important verse we had left it at. So the question came, there are many people, types of people in this world. Some seek Krishna just for Krishna's sake. Some people worship the devatas or the gods because they want quick results and they want materialistic results. There are others who just don't bother. They surrender to their nature, prakriti. So wherever the nature takes them, they go along with the nature. So the question may arise that why are there so many differences between, if there's only one consciousness, why is there so many differences between people? Why are there so many variations and varieties of human beings in the world? So Krishna gives the answer. He says, Chatur varnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashaha tasya kartaram api mam vidya kartaram avyayam. He says basically in this verse, I give the body, mind, sense complex to each individual in keeping with the disposition of the individual. So the Chatur Varnyam, the 4 Varnas are based on the disposition of people. And what is this disposition? It is a combination, a mixture of 3 gunas, qualities. So we have seen this, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas are 3 qualities said to pervade the whole entire universe, including the individuals. So if you have Sattva predominant, mind and vocation will match. So Sattva predominant mind will produce a person with the quality of Brahmana. So that person is called Brahmana. And the Sattva quality predominant, we will see what the characteristics of Sattva predominant people are. And if the karma also, he differentiates with the activity that one also does in life. That goes along with the mind, right? So Krishna says that the bodies are given according to an order based on the gunas of the individuals, and you have earned your gunas from past. So Krishna says, I have nothing to do with the mind and body, really, that you have got in this life, because you have created it in past life. We actually think Ishvara is, given this. Yes, he has given it, but you are the one, using your free will, have made the mind the way it is, or the physical body the way it is. So that's also very interesting to say and see in this verse, because he says that I'm not really the doer in this verse. I am just the dispenser of results, and the timing is dependent on me. But You are the ones who created your body, mind, senses because of your past karma using your free will. So in this structure in society is given by Krishna. So that structure was valid in those days where moksha was kept as the goal. These days, moksha, nobody thinks about moksha. Who thinks about liberation? Most people, humanity is focused on security and pleasure. You can go any country, any place, everybody is after security and pleasure. So, Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam, Krishna says, I have created this fourfold division of people according to, in three ways, generally people can be divided. So, according to their personality, their nature, which is guna, or according to their profession, their job, karma. In this verse, he says, Guna Karma Vibhagayoho. He has only separated people in these two aspects, but human beings separate people in another aspect. That is what has given to rise to wrong knowledge in India, which is jati. That's birth. By birth, you're classified as Brahmin, you're classified as Kshatriya, as Vaishya, as Shudra. The four castes are born because of wrong understanding of this structure. So Krishna is very clear here. Guna Vibhagashaha means what type of nature you have. We saw this. The Prakriti forms us. We are driven by Prakriti. And we can transmute our Prakriti because Karma Yoga lifestyle is to transmute from Tamas and Rajas to more Sattva. What is Sattva? Sattva is the quality of purity, of tranquility, of peace, of love, of compassion, all those values that we as human beings also cherish. Because when we're in the state of sattva, there is no inner conflict. We actually love that state. But very rarely do we get it as people because rajas, the second quality, takes over. Second quality, rajas, is desire, ambition. You know, a lot of drive, determination. You're always on the move when rajas is taking over. You can't sit still. So most people are governed by this rajas actually. Little bit of sattva off and on. You know, when I have a break or a holiday, I'm sitting, I'm watching a sunset or I'm listening to some good music, suddenly sattva guna comes. But it's very rare, it stays for long because rajas immediately pushes sattva out of the thing. And rajas and tamas takes over rajas. So tamas is another one. Tamas is the lethargy, depression, slowness, you know, indifference, things like that associated with tamas. But we can't say this one is bad, this is good. That's the way the universe is made. These are the three gunas. This is a model that is given in the Veda. It's given in the Gita as well. And nobody is wholly sattvic. Nobody is wholly rajasic. Nobody is wholly tamasic. Everybody is a mixture of all three. And we need all three to function in the world as well. But the spiritual, people interested in spiritual pursuit, the whole idea is to purify oneself to become more sattva predominant. So you're more sattvic in nature due to your practices like fasting during Navaratri. This is a good time for purification, right? Fasting, chanting, prayers, all of these are purifying practices, meditation, all of this is to increase the sattva guna in the mind, actually. So you can see why all the practices are given. But Krishna, he doesn't talk about it in the Gita, but there are four combinations of human beings that we can take according to the guna variations. So the first one is sattva predominant, rajas followed by tamas. So SRT, sattva, rajas, tamas. What is that type of personality? Brahmana personality. So you cannot have tamas as the next guna following sattva. It has to be rajas in the middle. So you cannot skip rajas and go to tamas. So the first guna is sattva, then rajas, tamas, then you're called brahmana. We'll see what that brahmana guna is. This is a bit like the, Myers-Briggs, that personality test, you have in the West psychology. But we had the first original personality test there in the Bhagavad Gita. So the first type is Brahmana, that personality. Then you have the other combinations, the second combinations, Rajas predominant, followed by Sattva, then Tamas last. They are called Kshatriyas. So the people who have this guna combination, they're called Kshatriyas, or the administrative class, or the warriors. And the third class is Rajas first, Tamas, and then Sattva. So with Rajas, you have two combinations, two permutations. The first one is Rajas Sattva Tamas. Second is Rajas Tamas Sattva, which is business people, Vaishyas, the agriculturists. Why do they have Tamas next? Because in business, you may have to compromise some values as well. So Tamas, you have next, business people, people who are into agriculture, other things we will see. Finally, there are the Shudra. Shudras are Tamas first. So they're Tamo Guna predominant. People who are not very active in life, who just, want to, they have the bare minimum. They just want to survive. They have the basic pleasures they enjoy. They are Tamas first, Rajas, and then Sattva last. They're called Shudras. So I don't decide these. Krishna says, I don't decide these. I don't have a role. You have earned these guna combinations, permutations karmically. So the gunas that you have in this life are actually gunas that you have formed in past lives. Krishna has already talked about it. Purvakrita samskara, he has said. He says, I only give the bodies according to the karma that you have earned. So here, the sattva predominant Brahmana are the deep thinkers, the people, the educationists in society. They're not driven so much by the securities and pleasures that other people are. So you'll find the Brahmanas of society, in any society, they have jobs as ministers or even the doctors. All of these are put under Brahmanas. They are guidance, they give guidance to leaders. So the Brahmana people who have the gunas of forgiveness, purity, knowledge, humility, all of this is associated with the Brahmanas. Then when you have Rajas predominant, it's more Kshatriyas. So the Rajo Guna Pradhana, the Kshatriyas, they have the social responsibilities in societies. They are the judiciary system in societies. They're the ruling class. All of this are the Kshatriya people. And their qualities are bravery, loyalty, prowess, all of this courage, not getting, weighed down by challenges. That's a Kshatriya quality in people. So you can see that we're all a mixture of all qualities, in fact. It is not one quality we have. And sometimes we're a Brahmana, sometimes we're Kshatriyas, sometimes we're Vaishyas. Vaishyas are people who, highly kind of, we would say, self-interested activity, because business is a bit self-interested. Profits, even if you run a company, your profits, you want to grow, you want more growth. So sometimes values are compromised because you want to increase your profits. So Vaishyas are that type of oriented people, but they are the economic backbone of all societies. They are needed also. So you can see how the varnas are all needed. They go together to form a harmonious whole. And the last one, the tamas predominant people, the Shudras. The Shudras, there's, again, you understand, they are the blue collar workers in society, the laborers, all of these people where thinking is minimum, activity is also minimum. So these are the people during COVID, you see, they're the ones who made the whole societies run wherever, maybe the garbage collectors, the people who are stacking the shelves in the supermarkets, all of this type of work, that is called Shudra Karma. So there's nothing high or low here. It is Krishna just saying there are different types of people and different activities that people can take up. So Guna, Karma, Vibhagashaha, this whole system was created at that time because people had their goal on moksha. Everybody at that time in the Vedic times, the goal was very clear. So the job you did not matter. So according to your guna, your qualities, you would get into the profession. In those days, now it's all different, but the birth used to match the quality, used to match the action, the activity that the human being did in those times. And everything was geared towards, again, moksha. So this is a very important division, because the success in Vedic times was not how much money you had, how much power you had, what position you have. What was success determined by? In Vedic times, success was self-purification, actually. The most successful person was seen as the one with the antakarana shuddhi, or the purity of mind. So contentment was seen as the greatest success in Vedic times. That's why all the values and everything is brought into the Gita. It's a way of life, because contentment is what everybody is after all. But in today's day and age, people are confused. They confuse comfort with contentment. Comfort and pleasure need not be contentment. Contentment can be a simple life without so much comfort. So this is the confusion in modern times. People are after this power and pelf and equating it with contentment and happiness, which is not what was seen in those times. So Krishna says, Tasya kartaram apiman viddhi akartaram avyayam. Understand, from my standpoint as Atma, as consciousness, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. At the same time, I did, he says. So this is the confusing thing. I, as though, created this division of people, but you did it with your free will. As consciousness, I don't do anything. I light up all activity. So why is he saying this? Because he wants to say, I am not affected by any karma. I am not affected by any activity. Only human beings are affected by activity. But he says, avyayam, aham avyayam, I am uninvolved. Actions happen in my presence, but I am impartial order, uninvolved. I don't change at all. I am the truth of the universe. Everything is a dependent reality, dependent on me. And because I am a non-doer, I am unaffected also by the results of action. So this is what is going to be taken up in the consequent verses. We have seen this idea of non-doership. Krishna is going to explain this more in the next few verses, very famous verses, very subtle, this knowledge of non-doership, but he wants to emphasize it to Arjuna because that is the key in knowledge. The non-doership, non-experiencership is the only way the ahankara, individuality, can be negated. It's by discovering yourself as a non-doer, non-experiencer. He says about himself, but he says about all those people who understand him in the next verse. Namam karmani limpanti, name karma phale spruha, iti mam yobhijanati, karma bhirna sabhadyate. He says, actions don't affect me, and I don't long with reference to the result either. Those who know me clearly, they're also not bound by action. So Krishna's activity as Ishvara is not ordinary. He has the role of creation, sustenance, and dissolution of the universe. That is not ordinary activity, right? And all different human beings also are created. But what does he say? With the roles of creator, sustainer, dissolver, I am unaffected by the karma. Namam karmani limpanti. Actions do not bind me. They don't bind me because I'm not after any results. You can imagine, Ishvara creating the Jagat. Oh no, what a mess I've made, Imagine him having responsibility like that. Oh, I have to redo this Jagat. I have to do it again. Let me withdraw it back now, dissolve it, and let me create something else. He doesn't make it 100 times. First time it appears, that's it, finished. He's not attached to the results. Whatever you do in your Jagat, I've given you the whole, setup to exhaust your karmas. So he leaves us to exhaust our karmas. He just creates the situations for us. So that is what he's saying here. They don't bind me. I'm not bothered. If people don't follow me, they don't pray to me, I'm not bothered. Karmani mam na limpanti. I'm not tainted or stained by any karma because I'm pure consciousness. So I am Satyam. How can anything touch me? So Krishna says, when you understand his true Swarupa, his nature, and you understand that the karma being done or the activity you see happening in the world is a cause of Prakriti, and that consciousness cannot act, in the presence of consciousness, the Prakriti creates as though action. So here, this is the whole crux of Vedanta being brought in by Krishna in these verses. He says the whole thing that you see, this whole world of activity is mithya. It is a dependent reality. Cannot touch me because it's another order of reality. Karma cannot touch the light, right? Activities that happen within the light, we have seen this idea, cannot touch the light. The movie that is projected on the screen cannot affect the screen. So even if it is a horror movie, even if it is the worst movie, it cannot affect the movie screen. In the same way, he says, I am untouched by all the activities. Na me karma phale spraha means I'm not attached to the results either. There's no craving for results to be in a certain way. Because I do everything for loka sangraha, we saw in the 3rd chapter, for the sake of well-being of society. I know I am Purnam. I know I'm completeness. I'm the meaning of fullness. I don't need to work for results because I already know myself. And iti mam yaha abhijanati. If you know me in such a manner, my true nature, not the blue Krishna playing the flute and attracting the gopikas. If you know me, my true nature, the consciousness, the one who knows clearly, you also become the same way as me. You are a non-doer. You recognize that there is no doership for you. So here, as an individual, you can repeat the same line as Krishna. He says, Name karmani limpanti. The karmas don't touch me at all. You can say that when you are self-discovered, self-realized. And karma bihi saha na badyate, he says, you are not bound by actions and results any longer. So your little I, that imposter I, that everybody loves so much, does not drive your life anymore. You see your body, mind, senses just acting, moving around in the world when you are free from their actions and results. So Bhagavan says here, in this verse, there is a great equation revealed, because if you know the Lord in essence, Krishna says, you know yourself in essence, because you and the Lord are one and the same. You are intrinsically one and the same. So knowing me, nevertheless, I continue to act. People continue to act even if they know me. They follow the example of people, great people from the past. He says, Evam jnatva kritam karma purvairapi mumukshubhihi kuru karmeva tasmat tvam purvaif purvataram kritam. Evam jnatva, knowing in this manner, knowing me in this manner, knowing that I'm a non-doer, that I'll just light up all activities, and you know yourself that you light up all activities. He says, perform actions, continue to perform actions for the well-being of others. Follow the examples of people who have gone before you. He already gave the examples in the 3rd chapter. Here he says, Purvaihi api mumukshubhihi. Follow this example. People who desired liberation, they discovered freedom from sorrow. So they know that moksha is the only goal in life, that everybody is looking for that permanence, that permanent happiness. Purvehi karma kritam. These people of the past, how did they discover this liberation? How did they discover this knowledge? By doing karma. They kept acting and playing their roles in order to purify themselves. So they did not give up activity in the world. Every self-realized, self-discovered person has been active in his life before. He may be sitting now under a tree, like, in meditation, or he may be still active in the world, helping others. There could be two, Krishna will go on in this chapter to explain 2 types of wise people. One who is active in the world, one who is not active in the world. There are 2, so you cannot judge who is a wise person. Generally, we think somebody who is sitting, outside a cave, or he's in the forest by himself with his eyes closed, with anthills growing, on him, very long nails. All this is a self-realized person. But Krishna says you can be extremely active in the world. Again, he says that Nyatva kritam karma. These people have already done activities in their life. They were in the thick and thin of action in their lives, but they remained untouched, unaffected because of karma yoga lifestyle they took up. And finally, they discovered moksha. So he advises here, Kuru karmeva tasmatvam. You also act like this, O Arjuna. Take the earlier seekers, spiritual seekers, as an example. Here, Adi Shankaracharya, he adds in his commentary for this verse, Na tushni masanam napi sannyasaha kartavyaha. He says in his commentary, what does he add here? He says, don't sit quietly and say you're a renunciate. That is not renunciation. So he adds that for Arjuna there, Shankara adds that lot of the mumukshus, the jnanis, the wise people have used karma to cleanse the mind of ragas and dveshas. So they have lived a life, a full life. In fact, if you go back to Upanishads, the rishis, the sages were all married. They were grihastha. They had lots of kids. You can imagine, while they're doing their rituals, while they're doing their meditation, there's a baby crying in the background. There's some other teenager screaming his head off. All this is not written in the Upanishad, but I'm sure the sages also had to deal with their own families, right? So they had to go through all of this as well. Krishna says, you can use your situation actually for chitta shuddhi, for cleansing your mind, living a life like this, and live your life also as a contributor. Loka sangraharta means you're not thinking of just me and mine. Grow out of just this nuclear family. Start seeing the whole world as a family. In fact, we're all connected on the atmic level. It is only blood relation we take to be mind, right? But here, Krishna says, Loka sangraharta means expand your heart, expand your mind, encompass the whole jagat. That is what a jnani will do. So now, there is a lot of confusion still regarding action. So Krishna says, let me explain more in depth, because the true meaning of action and actionlessness should be imbibed by you. Inaction, we saw, never leads to liberation. But what is this action, actionlessness, and inaction? And now Krishna enters into a discussion about karma, activity. What is the truth of karma, of activities? Because there's a lot of confusion regarding this. So he says, Kim karma kimakarmeti kavayopyatra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshyami yajñātva mokshase shubhat. Kim karma, what is action? Kima karma, what is actionlessness? I'm going to talk about it now, because if you understand this topic, you will be free from all that is undesirable. But he says, Kavayaha, the Kavi actually means poets, but here it means people who have far-sightedness. They have a greater vision than ordinary people. Even such people are deluded regarding karma actions. They may be very intelligent. They have power of memory power. They have thinking power, intellectual power, great thinkers. But Krishna says they are mohitaha. They are deluded when it comes to karma. Many people actually leave the society mainstream and sit and do nothing. I know personally people who are studied Advaita Vedanta, not under traditional teaching, not with the traditional unfoldment, and the understanding has, and they're not unintelligent people either. They've read a lot, but what they understand of Advaita is, oh, I'm not the doer. I can sit and do anything. So I can smoke, I can have a glass of wine at night because I'm not the doer. The body is just doing. That is a cop-out. That is not what Advaita is about. So there is some wrong understanding that anything can be done. It's not what Krishna is saying here. The level that you get to where non-doership becomes a part of you, that is only in knowledge. Until then, karma, all the values, everything has to come in, and it's used as purifying. So Krishna says, Kim karma? What is action? Is it some kind of movement? Kima karma? What is actionlessness? Is it motionlessness? You don't move? Tatte karma pravakshami. I am going to tell you the secret about karma now. Only I can clarify, Krishna says. Nobody else can clarify. Yajñātva mokshase ashubhat. He says at the end, knowing this secret, this knowledge about karma, and you will be free from anything inauspicious. So shubha here, ashubhat means inauspicious. It has a few readings, a few meanings. The first meaning is that it is anything inauspicious, not very good in your life, which is samsara. That is the first meaning. You will be free from this samsara life of becoming. The second meaning is that ashubha means that any doubts, we don't like doubts in our head regarding life or the spiritual pursuit or the knowledge. So moksha se ashubhat, the second meaning is your mind will be free from all doubting, free from all doubts. We hate not being clear in life. We don't like it at all. So all the pain and negative projections in our mind is because we don't really know the truth of what is happening. We always doubt, right? Sometimes the mind fools you into thinking this is what the other person is thinking, even on very basic level. You already live in the thought, what? This person is thinking this. And there is some doubt. Is it really true? Is it not true? Could it be true? We don't have any idea what actually anybody is thinking. Only those people know. We don't have any idea what anybody is doing. Only people know. So doubt, that doubting nature, Bhagavan says, freedom from that. And the third meaning means the constant reaction to the pairs of opposites in life. That is also ashubha. We don't like it. Moods start ruling the mind. Not that my mind rules over the moods. I become moody. Mind is moody, actually. So this ashubhat means knowing this secret about activity, action in life, you will be freed from the moody mind or the moodiness of mind. So Bhagavan says now in the next verse, it is not so easy to understand karma. He emphasizes again, Karmano hyapi bodhavyam, bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha, akarmanascha bodhavyam, gahana karmano gatihi. A very famous last line, gahana karmano gatihi. The nature of karma activity is very difficult to understand. So what kind of activities here are we talking about? First, to be done activities. So to be done are activities in line with dharma. We have seen this before. Not to be done activities, activities against ethical values, ethical norms are not to be done activities. So that also we need to understand. Then the third type of karma is inaction, not doing anything at all and thinking that you are realized. That is inaction. And the fourth is actionlessness, which is only in knowledge. So these are the four places where confused, he says. And Krishna now tells us that even the karma palam, the results of action, we don't know. We cannot tie what is happening to us right now with what we are doing right now. So karma is so difficult to understand because sometimes we think what I'm doing now should give me a certain result, but it doesn't, does it? I do certain things. Sometimes it happens according to what I wish, but many times it goes different direction. So Krishna says it is a very profound topic. Gahana karmano gatihi means deep topic, difficult to understand. We cannot know the ramifications of karma. How do we get the results of our action? There are various factors at play. We are not even aware. And the Shastra goes on to say, our karma palam, each individual's results of action, fruits of action, is also dependent on other people's results of action. So other people's results of action is included in my result also. Only based upon this does your individual result come, because everything is interconnected. And only Ishvara has full knowledge of everyone. So your near and dear, your loved ones' karma are connected to your karma is connected to their karma. Others also to whom I'm connected, their karma is also intertwined with my karma. People you go, not just your immediate circle, but we have other circles, friends, even a place where we're employed, that is karma. You're in a certain job, certain role, you're with certain people in the office. Who's given that setup? Their karma is given you in their life. Your karma is given them in your life. So here he says, the results of action are like, a whole bundle of spaghetti. Everything is wrapped round together. You pull 100 more threads of spaghetti come along because they're all connected, right? So this is, very interesting to know. He emphasizes Gahana Karmono Gatihi. Even people who are not immediately connected to affect you, their karma. Like we can see even now, people trapped in war zone, whether in Gaza or Israel or, all of this, we feel the pain of others suffering. Why is that? Because even though they're thousands and thousands of miles away, seeing them go through their karma is my karma. My suffering is based on their karma, and we're not even connected physically. So that is also karma palam experienced by me. My pain is, their karma pala is triggering my karma pala. This is how we're all connected. That's why Bhagavan says, Gahana karmano gatihi. Don't ask me which result, which cause produced which result. Krishna himself says, don't ask me this, because so many factors come into the picture. And karmano hyapi bodhavyam. He divides now the meaning of karma into two types: to be done action and not to be done action. So he says, bodhavyam chavikarmanaha, both have to be known, and then only actionlessness can be understood. So you have to know what is to be done, bodhavyam. You have to know what is not to be done as well in life and practice that for a length of time. So he says here, non-performance of action again. You cannot, by not doing the right thing, you are not going to get liberation. So doership will remain as long as you're ignorant of the self, but you have to know what is to be done in life, what is not to be done, and what means the absence of action. He says you have to know all of these things. Akarmanascha bodhavyam. So with all of that, you have to know what is actionlessness. This karma is not a simple topic. He says now, he introduces the subject matter of karma and akarma in this verse and the preceding verse. But what this action is given in a very famous verse now, discussing what actionlessness really is. It is a very subtle topic. There's a very famous verse of the 4th chapter. He says, Karmanya karma yaf pashet, akarmani cha karmayaha, sabuddhiman manusheshu, sayukta kritsna karma krita. It's a very difficult verse to understand. The one who sees actionlessness in action and action in actionlessness is wise among the human beings. That person is a yogi who has kritsna karma krit, who has done everything that is to be done. Now, if you read the translation, how will you understand it? That's why you need traditional unfoldment. Adi Shankaracharya has written pages and pages of commentary for this verse. That is how long it takes. So if you want an in-depth study, you'll have to study Bhagavad Gītā Home Study by Swami Dayananda. He gives a big, elaborate understanding of this verse. But I will just mention it briefly. How does a wise person understand karma? So action. Karmani akarma yaha pashyet. The first sentence. The wise person sees actionlessness in action. So Krishna, again, the wise person, Krishna himself, is speaking from the consciousness standpoint. Otherwise, you can't see actionlessness in action. So a wise person who is a self-realized person, self-discovered person, sees the actionlessness of consciousness, of Atma, despite actions taking place for the body, mind, senses. So what is meant here is the wise person knows Atma is Sakshi, witness. Atma as a witness, you are uninvolved in what is witnessed, right? And what is witnessed? The body, mind, senses are witnessed and they're moving around according to the prarabdha, to the prakriti. But he says, the wise person knows that Atma never acts. We saw that in the 2nd chapter. Atma, consciousness, can never act, nor can it make anything else act. It lights up actions, but itself doesn't do any actions. So what Krishna is saying here is that understand the actions that you see are being done by body, mind, senses, the superficial you, not the real you. The real you is lighting up the body, mind, senses activities. So the karmani akarma yaha pashet, the wise person recognizes the stillness within, despite the seeming motion outside, despite the activity outside. That is called this akartritvam or doership. Adi Shankaracharya gives a very beautiful example for this verse. He says, when you're traveling, he uses another example of going down the river on a boat. We're going to adapt his example to modern day, okay? When you're traveling on a train, for instance, you're looking out of the window, you can see outside the trees, the hills, various objects, they seem to be moving very fast in the opposite direction, right? When you're going on a train. There is an action of movement in the trees and the hills. They look like they're moving. But is it the fact that the trees are moving? Is it a fact that the hills are moving in the opposite direction? There is no action in reality, right? But the trees, mountains are, they look like they're moving, but they're not really. There is karma in akarma. When you see this, there is action in actionlessness when you look at it from this example. So what the idea here is that state of activity is superimposed on that which is actionless, right? So with reference to the example, I know as a wise person, what do I know? I know that these trees, hills, and objects are not really moving. I see them moving, but what do I know? It is not a fact that they're moving. So that makes me wise with regard to karma, activity. That is called wisdom here. The movement is superimposed on the trees and the hills. Karmani akarma darshanam. So this is the idea behind this verse. Remove the superimposition, remove the movement of the trees and hills, the cognitive removing. See that they are non-moving inside, and you have understood actionlessness. It's the same way when you see your body or you see other bodies moving, all, in activity. They're like the trees and, the trees and the hills and everything moving as though moving, but in fact, nobody is moving anywhere because they are one consciousness. The movement you see is erroneous. That's what he's saying. Everybody is the form of actionlessness. So the movement that we see is called mithya. There are a lot of activities going on with reference to myself. Take yourself first. The body, mind, senses are very, very active. But what is the mistake we make? When the body, mind, senses are active in the world, the mistake we make is saying, I am active. Immediately, the actions get superimposed on actionless Atma. So this is a very, very subtle topic. Don't worry. But this is, again, whole of Vedanta. Krishna's brought in this verse. Atma is akarta, non-doer. But when you say, I am doing, you are superimposing what? The doing body, mind, senses, you're superimposing on Atma. So here Krishna says, understand cognitively, remove the superimposition, and you will be free from this action. You will recognize that you are always a karta. In fact, you are non-doer even at this moment. Hand is lifting, scratching the head, right? Hand is moving. Mouth is talking. Body is functioning, but I am untouched. So this is one way the wise person sees life. Then akarmani cha karma yaha is the second way. Akarmani cha karma yaha pashyati. He sees action in inaction. So on the body, mind, sense level, action in inaction means what? When the body, mind, sense is not moving, asleep, it is asleep or stationary, it may seem there is inaction. It is motionless. But what does the wise person know? He knows the doer, karta, is asleep. He knows that the dormant condition is there for the doer. But that karta is going to wake up in the morning and is going to become active again. So the wise person knows the fact that although the body looks still and calm, there is a dormant doer there that's going to wake up and the body is going to become active. So here Shankaracharya uses another example. Maybe it will help to understand. You are standing like on a shore, he says. You're standing at the beach. Suppose you're standing at the beach. And in the distance, the horizon, you see a ship. It looks stationary. Is it stationary? No, it is actually moving. You see it stationary, but it is actually moving. The wise person knows what? Some body looks stationary, but it is actually in motion. So akarma, he says, akarma is superimposed on karma. Absence of movement is superimposed on the moving ship. So same way, remove the superimposition that it is not moving and see that the ship is moving. Bringing it down to your body, when you say my body is still, it is quiet, I am not active, the body, non-functioning of the body, you superimpose on Atma. So again, you connect the non-functioning of the body on Atma, and it doesn't really belong to Atma. So here, again, just to understand, it will take time. Again, we have to, 5th chapter also discusses all of this non-doership. Basically, what we need to understand is that the functioning or the non-functioning of the body is not Atma's problem. It is not superimposed on Atma. That's a wise person sees that. He says that he sees that I am untouched by whatever the body does. That's what this verse basically says. Sayuktaha kritsna karma krit. He finally finishes saying that all the karmas have that are to be done by such a person with this vision have already been done. He has accomplished. Kritsna karma krit means he has accomplished everything that is to be accomplished. His joy is complete. Aham purnaha. He knows I don't need to do anything else. And the body, mind, senses will just act out according to prarabdha. But I am the non-doer consciousness. I have discovered that. So kritsna karma krit means that I am already free from all activities. I need not do anything more in my life, but I can still do if it is for loka sangraha. This is the whole idea here. For the ajnani, for the otherwise, for the ignorant people, the difference is what? The difference is I am doing the action, I am reaping the results, I am speaking, I am walking. That I am is always involved in the activities. I am will never say body is acting, body is doing. Do we talk like that? No. That's the whole problem. If we had knowledge, we will all talk about that. We will talk if there's, knowledge, we could say, Swamini Chidekara is talking. Swamini is doing this. Swamini is doing that. I would third person myself because body, mind, senses is not I. That's the whole idea. So here, the ignorant person will involve the Atma with the body, mind, senses. And what is the problem of that? Why do you think this knowledge is given by Krishna? As soon as my I gets involved in the body, mind, sense complex, I am in trouble. You should see that. Then the limitations of the body become my limitations. If the body is fat, if the body is thin, the body is sick, the body is healthy, what do I say? I am sick. I am unhealthy. I am not well. All lumped on the I. And that is where the suffering starts, right? The identification with the physical first. Then the mind, you put all the attributes of the mind onto the I. When the I, the karta, the doer, identifies with the mind, I am restless, I am disturbed, I have desires, then you're in trouble already. Because when you put all the qualities of the mind on you, you will definitely be working for a different type of mind. So experience, this is the ignorant, how ignorant people are in the world. The I will always keep acting for results. That is called samsara. I will never do anything without expecting the result. And what is the I doing it for? Who is the I acting for in life? You may be acting for your husband or your children. You think you're acting for your friend or for others. But who is the I really acting for? So Shastra is very clear here. Everyone's I is acting only for the experiencer I inside. That is called bhokta. The experiencer I is sitting there. The doer I, there's two of me now. The doer I keeps doing. The experiencer I keeps enjoying. Sometimes it doesn't enjoy, because not all that the doer I does you enjoy, right? So the doer I keeps doing. Then experiencer I is enjoying what the doer I is doing. You want that experience of joy, that experience called bhokta. What you do, the I feeds the karta, the doer, always feeding the bhokta, the experiencer. And that's how the cycle continues for the ignorant. But sabuddhiman manushyeshu, the enlightened person, has the wisdom. He sees inaction in action. He knows Atma never acts. It is actionlessness. So he has come out of the trap of activity. His I does not work for his bhokta. His karta does not work for satisfying bhokta. His I has been seen as false. It is called badita ahankara. It is a falsified egoic individuality. So in this verses, the whole idea of action, the secret of action and activity is given by Krishna. It takes a lot of dwelling upon. It takes a lot of assimilation. It is not easy, this knowledge that is given in these verses. But if you get it, you will not come back for another class, definitely, because that is called enlightenment. So getting this, what Krishna is saying, is enlightenment. It takes some time to assimilate, but even understanding a little, you can see there is a space between you and the body, mind, sense complex that develops. When you keep listening to these sections, you will automatically develop that space between you, the body, mind, senses. And when that space becomes more and more, you find yourself becoming less and less affected by what the body, mind, senses does. So that is the key here in knowledge, to make that space so big that you yourself are like space, like Atma, that the body, mind, sense activity cannot touch you anymore. So we will see more tomorrow. We're doing our marathon for 9 days of finishing this, and you will see the flow of it much more. Hari Om. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Satgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So all are welcome again to join for the pre-Gita chanting, Navaratri, 8 to 8:25. We'll have more Durga mantras tomorrow. Hari Om. Namaste.